All right, get ready to see the African savannah in a whole new light because today we're diving deep into the world of its ultimate cleanup crew, scavengers.
That's right.
We're talking vultures, hyenas, jackals, the works.
You know, the fascinating characters most people try to avoid on safari.
And you provided some amazing research for this deep dive, the ultimate pecking order.
Hmm.
I had no idea there was so much to learn about these often overlooked creatures.
Oh, it's amazing. People don't realize just how vital they are to the health of the entire ecosystem.
They're like the unsung heroes, keeping things clean and balanced.
Absolutely. In
Yeah.
fact, think of them as the savanna's immune system. Without them, carcasses would pile up, disease would spread like wildfire.
Okay, that's a mental image I could do without. So how does this whole scavenger system work? Is it just a free-for-all, or is there some kind of order to it?
It's definitely not a free-for-all. There's a hierarchy, a fascinating balance, each scavenger with its own niche and strategy.
Oh, I bet. Like those black-backed jackals, right. They're not the biggest guys on the block, but the article mentioned they have a rather, shall we say, bold way of getting a meal.
Opportunistic is the word I'd use. They're incredibly cunning, always looking for a chance to exploit a situation to their advantage, even if it means, well, you read the article.
Let's just say I'll never look at an impala the same way again. But they're not always the first ones at a carcass, are they?
That's where our next contender comes in the marabou stork.
Now, those are some interesting-looking birds.
You can say that again. They might not be winning any beauty contests, but what they lack in looks, they more than make up for in patience.
Ah, so while the jackals are off being, well, jackals, the storks are biding their time, waiting for their moment.
Exactly. They're the ultimate opportunists, letting the more, shall we say, eager scavengers tire themselves out before swooping in for the leftovers.
Smart strategy. Less work, less risk. So we've got cunning jackals, patient storks. What about the stars of the show, the vultures?
Yes, the vultures. They're often seen as the kings and queens of the cleanup crew, and for a good reason. But did you know there are actually several different types of vultures, each with their own unique role to play?
The article mentioned a few, like the white-backed vulture, the Ruppel's griffin, the lappet-faced. It's a whole vulture family reunion out there.
It really is. And they've each got their own specialties. The white-backed vultures, for example, they're like the scouts. They soar high above the savanna, scanning for carcasses.
And then you've got those Ruppel's griffins, those high flyers. I mean, soaring at 37,000 feet, that's practically in space. Talk about a bird's eye view.
It's incredible. That altitude allows them to cover vast distances and spot even the smallest carcass from miles away. But when it comes to brute strength, the lappet-faced vulture takes the crown.
Those are the big guys, right?
Oh, yes. Those powerful beaks can tear through hides that other scavengers can't even begin to penetrate.
Talk about a powerful bite.
It's a team effort with vultures, each species with its own role to play in the grand feast.
Fascinating. And speaking of feasts, there's one more scavenger we need to talk about, the Egyptian vulture. Now, these guys are fascinating because they don't just rely on brute strength, they use tools.
Exactly. They're the only bird species known to use tools in the wild.
I read about that. Smashing open ostrich eggs with rocks? That's some next-level problem solving.
It really is, and it just goes to show these often underestimated creatures are much smarter than we give them credit for. And speaking of intelligence, we can't forget about the masterminds of the savannah when it comes to scavenging.
The masterminds. Wait, there's more. I thought we covered all the major players in the scavenger world.
Oh, we've only just scratched the surface.
Yeah.
We need to talk about hyenas. They've got a bit of a bad rap, often portrayed as these, well, kind of dim-witted, cackling scavengers.
Yeah, the Lion King didn't exactly paint them in the best light.
Exactly. But the reality is far more nuanced. They're incredibly intelligent and resourceful, with social structures that rival those of primates.
Okay, now I'm really intrigued. The article mentioned 3 types: spotted, brown, and striped. What makes them so special?
Well, let's start with the spotted hyena. When you think of a dominant leader, you probably picture a large male, right?
Yeah, that's usually what comes to mind.
Well, the spotted hyena flips that script completely. They live in complex clans ruled by a dominant female.
You're kidding. Females are in charge.
Oh yeah. Rank, power, inheritance, it all flows through the females. It's a matriarchal society that's incredibly successful.
Wow. Talk about girl power. Their social structure is clearly working for them. But what about their scavenging habits? Are they as aggressive as their reputation suggests?
They're skilled hunters, no doubt, but scavenging is definitely a big part of their diet. Remember those bone-crushing jaws we talked about?
Oh, yeah, those were impressive.
Hyenas can crack open bones that other scavengers can only dream of, getting to that nutritious marrow inside.
Talk about resourcefulness. They're like the ultimate bone-in rib fans. What about their more solitary cousins, the brown hyenas?
Ah, the brown hyena. They're the enigmatic loners of the hyena world, perfectly content in their own company, roaming vast territories in search of a meal.
So, while spotted hyenas are all about social strategy, brown hyenas have mastered the art of self-sufficiency. It's amazing how different survival strategies can be successful in the same environment.
Isn't it fascinating? And then we have the striped hyena. They're like the ultimate adaptation champions.
Yeah, they weren't afraid to try a little bit of everything. What's their secret?
They're flexible palate.
Yeah.
They're not picky eaters, which allows them to thrive in a wider range of habitats.
So while a brown hyena might struggle to find carrion in a drought, a striped hyena can switch to fruits, insects, you name it.
Exactly. They're the definition of adaptability.
Okay, I'll admit, I had a completely different picture of hyenas in my head. They're much more complex than I realized. But how do these fascinating creatures, along with all the other scavengers, impact the savannah as a whole? It's like they're the unsung heroes keeping the entire ecosystem running smoothly.
Exactly. They might not be the most glamorous creatures on the savannah, but they're absolutely essential. Think of it this way. Every time a scavenger makes a meal out of a carcass, they're preventing that carcass from becoming a breeding ground for disease.
It's like they're nature's cleaning crew, preventing those outbreaks from spreading to other animals and even potentially to humans.
Precisely. They're protecting the health of the entire ecosystem, including us. Plus, they play a crucial role in nutrient recycling.
Nutrient recycling, so it's more than just taking out the trash.
Oh, much more. By breaking down carcasses, they're releasing essential nutrients back into the soil, which then supports plant life and the entire food web. It's a beautiful cycle of life, death, and renewal.
It really is amazing when you think about it. But the article also highlighted some of the threats these scavengers are facing, and it's got me a bit worried.
Yeah, unfortunately, it's not all sunshine and roses for these guys.
Yeah.
One of the biggest issues is poisoning, sometimes accidental, sometimes intentional.
Poisoning, how does that happen?
Well, sometimes farmers will use pesticides or poison bait to control agricultural pests or predators, but these toxins can easily make their way up the food chain and end up harming or even killing scavengers.
So a single action intended to protect crops or livestock can have these unintended ripple effects across the entire ecosystem.
Exactly. It highlights how interconnected everything is. And then there's the ever-present issue of habitat loss. As humans continue to expand our footprint, wild spaces are shrinking and scavengers are losing their homes and hunting grounds.
It's heartbreaking to think about these incredible animals struggling to survive because of human actions.
It is, but it's not all doom and gloom. There's a lot we can do to help.
Okay, tell me there's hope for these guys. What can be done to protect them?
Absolutely. Awareness is a big one. The more people understand just how important scavengers are to the health of the ecosystem, the more likely we are to take action to protect them.
So spreading the word is crucial, helping people see these animals in a new light, not just as, well, scavengers.
Exactly. And there are concrete actions we can take too. Supporting organizations that are dedicated to scavenger conservation is huge. They're doing amazing work protecting habitats, combating poisoning, and educating communities.
So those donations and volunteer hours really do make a difference.
Every little bit helps. And on a personal level, we can all try to minimize our own impact on the environment. Being more mindful of our waste, reducing our carbon footprint, supporting sustainable practices.
Yeah.
It all adds up.
It's a good reminder that even small changes can have a big impact. So we've got our work cut out for us, folks, but it's clear that these often overlooked creatures are worth fighting for.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
No.
And as we wrap up this deep dive into the world of scavengers, I'm left with a sense of awe at their resilience, their adaptability, and their vital role in maintaining the delicate balance of nature.
It's been an incredible journey, and I have to say my perspective on these creatures has completely changed. I'll never look at a vulture or a hyena the same way again. They're not just scavengers, they're survivors. They're essential parts of a complex and interconnected web of life, and they deserve our respect, our admiration, and most importantly, our protection. So, to everyone listening, thank you for joining us on this adventure into the often misunderstood world of Africa's ultimate cleanup crew. Until next time, keep exploring, keep asking questions, and keep advocating for the incredible diversity of life on our planet.